gonna do is I'm gonna give you a little preview of what does it look like before I get to it, because where I'm gonna work, it doesn't have a lot of room for me to put the camera and like make sure that it's being shot. Let me show you. So if you can see here, I have these racinas and I have all this empty room down in the pot, and I'm gonna fill it up with some coleus. The same thing with that pot right there and this one right here. This plant needs a little support, and I'm gonna move these hostas right here because they're getting attacked. I'm thinking it's caterpillars. I don't think they're snails. If you see, I have even a micans here growing. I don't know how, because I didn't put a micans in here for sure, but look at that. There's a micans and a hastatin growing there. And then I have a Brazil growing out of that pot. So I need to like take care of these pots, put in these dracaenas, this Iponema, this little bit of grass, and the others. I have a couple of coleus over here that I'm gonna set all on those planters. And then I have a couple of, because you see these crotons over here have not been very happy. That one is completely gone. So I got myself a couple of crotons here that I'm gonna place in there. Off the pot bush that you see here is a African daisy. You've probably seen on my tour, and it's also on my Instagram several times at the beginning of the spring. But if you take a look, it's really off the pot. It has dried out, and look at the size of the flower right now. is insignificant. And this is a plant that tends to flower all summer. What you can see is that it has completely overgrown the pot. Here I have a palm that is also like not happy there. I have a very attacked canna, and there are also petunias, but there's only two flowers. And I don't know if you can see, I'm gonna zoom it with the while I'm editing, but look at the size of that petunia. It's like this big. So this big pot is usually up here on this table, but because I needed to reset this table and put a better support, I brought these two down. One of them is this one. First, to talk about this, there's a snapdragon here, and I believe this is another canna. This is a green canna, and this is a red canna. So I'm gonna trim this all off. All this was full of flowers, and now is all little seed pods. So I'm gonna trim all this as well because I see flowers coming from the bottom. I'm gonna trim all this down, and I don't remember the name of this one at all. I'll look it up and put the name under in the screen. I also have a couple of callas back here, but they're not very happy either. And I also have a couple of Gerbera daisies. So what I want to do is to clean all this up and reset it over. This is a very sad that tries to come back. I believe I have it in the wrong spot because this is a queen maple tree, and I don't think it should be in the full sun, although I see maple trees in other places that are the same one that is huge and they are in full sun. So I don't understand what is the deal, but it tries to come back, but it never really takes on. So I'm just gonna leave it there. It's not fully dry because otherwise like these branches will completely snap like that one, like that. When they don't snap, it's because they're still alive. So I might give it like a little trim as well, and maybe that will reinvigorize the tree. But for the moment, what I want to do is trim all this off, and then I'm going to put some other plants that I have here to fill the rest of the pot. All right, so I stopped there for a second. So I found one of the culprit. You can see these are mealybug, and it might be like a little bit of spider mite as well. So after I finish trimming it, I'm gonna give it a good spray. Alright, so this is after the cleanup. Look at this. You can see there the infestation of mealybugs. That's mealybugs mainly. Because the spider's nets that I saw are not from spider mites. And this one is also a lot cleaner because this is, I believe, see, like this is what happens once the flowers are done blooming. They become seed pods, just like any other plant, but they stick around for long before they even dry out. Of all these little cuttings, I think there were maybe a handful, and when I mean a handful, like just 5 or 6 that were completely dry out. Most of them were still green. So I believe that that's gonna do good to the plant. This tabletop was bending. I didn't have enough support underneath, so now I added extra support, and I added a moisture barrier for when I water them in here. And like I showed you before, I just clean this up and I just add this Cassinia or treasure flower. That's the only one that I added in that pot. I just also trim all these petunias. I also trimmed these petunias and a couple of days ago, and since I trimmed them, they start flowering bigger. But I see that there's already like caterpillar damage, so I'm gonna have to spray them again. And then on this other big one, after I clean up this big one, as you see, like they start getting more flowers already as well since the trim. Soon enough, I'm gonna have to trim this as well. But I just put a couple of zinnias in here, and then I have this potato vine that I added on this planter. The problem with that planter was that I had 3 bulbs for caladiums that never came out. And on this little empty spot, I added these other dahlias. So this is dahlias too, like I have a couple of flowers that are coming up. So hopefully it checks as well as that one. The other planter in this corner is this. You probably saw the I did the Anthuriums flamingo flower over here with a few of them syngoniums that I made a planter. This one I still have to like upload it. I don't know if it's gonna be uploaded at the time that I upload this video. But this one, last year I had it in this corner and hated it. So it was probably getting too much sunlight at one point and did not like it. So I just brought it down. Here it's completely shaded. If it gets sunlight, direct sunlight is maybe like 20 minutes around 11 o'clock in the morning. Then this is the one that has the big collocations or taro. But right now they're growing new leaves right now. I just have to put a moisture barrier on this one because this is an IKEA tabletop. It's not even a tabletop, it's a door or some of the sort. And you can see start like opening there because of when I water them. So I'm just gonna wrap it up in plastic outdoor storage container. I made this new table that you saw me building. Put a moisture barrier. I can water these, you know, my daily or every other day waterings. And still have their projects here. They're the ones the short moss balls are in the back. The long ones are over here. And I have this is my table where I work. This was gonna be taking like a lot of my time this week, and I have not been able to upload faster videos, but here it is. All right, so I mentioned that I was gonna put this and replace it for that really damaged or unhappy croton that I have over there. But this one already has lost a lot of leaves, especially in these two stems right here. This is the only one that is staying pristine. Now these two have dropped lots and lots of leaves, so I'm not trusting it. So that was gonna go back because when I was clearing this old one, this is the old one, and this was part of it my fault because if you can see, this still has some of that cork that they use, and it was still there. And this plant has been there for a year. Now, what I did notice is that this is before I have my conspiracy theory about these little green balls. Okay, because the reason for me that I don't trust them is because there is no way in the market that you can find slow release fertilizer that color. And like I mentioned before on a different video of palms, that they are stuffed with those green pellets. So I was working on this croton to put it on this pot, and I clear it out of that. So this is the way it grow. I don't know if it had a cork in there, but the root system is looking fine. Now let me show you what came out, because even that the mix itself, it's a fine mix. It's pretty barky and pretty airy. It has perlite and everything, but look at the amount of this was what it was attached closer to the root. If you can see, there are several of those little green balls. Now, when I dig this here, that's where the previous croton was. There was a lot of those green balls that I didn't remove when I planted that plant. Now, this is the other part of this mix, of the mix of the where the new croton came in. The amount of green balls, I mean, fertilizer, especially low release fertilizer, is not cheap, correct? And why was this added when it was put it on this pot, because it's obviously not what it grew in with. So this been added when it was moved to the other pot that was like ready for transplant. This is too much fertilizer. Even if it was real fertilizer, it's way too much fertilizer. You can see the amount, and like I'm not even done. Like this. I mean, am I crazy? Am I really being having a conspiracy theory here? It doesn't shock me that growers will do this, that will boycott the plant for it to fail, because obviously they don't care about the plant, even though it's a living thing. They care about for the plant to die and the customer go and buy a new one. This is way too much fertilizer. Look at that. It's almost like more green than brown. And even that the growing media is fine because it's not clumpy, it's not dense, but all this green stuff. And considering that plant right there, this pot, the only one that has done well is this ivy, but this one was doing great at the beginning of the season. It had like a lot of flowers, but I don't know if I may have overwatered a little bit. Funny enough, palms are not growing huge just yet, but like look, even in here, you can see from the previous croton that there's a bunch of those green little things. So what I've done here is like I have dig as much as I can. You see they keep coming up, and try to clean all these rainbows, especially like palms here are they grow everywhere. And palms here for me, when I buy them in the store, they don't do really well. And one that I returned, when I took it out of the pot, I look at it and it was completely covered all the way on the sides of these green little balls. Like, look, this is not normal for any pot to have this much fertilizer, regardless if it's real fertilizer. First of all, because this increases the cost of the plant, and growers don't put anything extra they don't have to. But yet, this amount of fertilizer for this size pot, for this plant, is overkill. Seriously. Even if this is slow release fertilizer, look at this. It's like non-stop. So if there's a grower or someone that works in these places, and they can correct me and tell me like how I'm wrong about this, because first of all, the ones that I took out of there, they were also is what I'm getting into right now. Is what was in there where that croton was, and that croton had no reason there to fail. It's in the right spot. It had the right amount of moisture and feed and everything. So the only corporate that I find here are these things. It's like no, and I assure you that there's like at least a half a bottle size Osmo cup of fertilizer or whatever this crap is in here, which is ridiculous. The only one that I'm gonna plant in this little croton, I forgot the name. I doubt it that is here because this guy's it says Cordium variegatum. But I'm gonna look at the real name of this plant. The other one is already like not looking so hot. That's another thing that I like to do with the plants. I like to keep them where they came from, especially when I don't know how long they've been on the shop or on the store, to acclimatize to my environment before I put them on the stress of transplanting right away. I only do that when I see them fresh on the saran wrap shelves, meaning that they just been delivered. If I find them there, I transplant them right away. But if I don't, because I don't know how long they've been in the store and so on, I just give them a couple of months. So I'm gonna put this croton there, and while I'm here, let me show you what I've done with this other corner. So you saw me move this shelf here. So in the bottom, I put these aglaonemas that need to be tended to because they do not like to be outside. And I thought that in the now in the spring they will be fine, but these plants like a lot of more heat, and actually it's not even hot just yet. I'm not complaining about that because I don't care much for the heat. But here I have my propagations for all the other plants. These are all succulents. And now on this one, I was gonna put some of the coleus that I had, but I'm still not sure what I want to put in here. But I put a couple of the dracaenas in here. You can see the names of them offline. That's the Jenny Craig. I forgot what is this one is called. This is I believe this is the Red Sensation cordyline. There's another Kimberly fern that I have. This I have to find the name because this is a new cordyline as well, or a corn plant like this one. I had a huge one of these back in Dallas, and I had to leave it behind because it was too big, so I sold it. So I have one of the coleus here. I put the little grass in here, and here I just pop this propagation of a Nepiperinum enjoy. These are our other Dracaenas or Song of India, and here is where I put all the coleus. But I put all this variety of coleus here. Coleus tend to not overstand the winter, except for one that I'm going to show you now. That was a total trooper, and he stayed alive the whole winter. Those things, these little things, you see that? That is not a butterfly. That is a moth, a destructive one. Usually when I see them, I chase them and I try to spray them, bring them down and kill them. Because they will lay dozens and dozens of eggs that turns into caterpillars and do this to your plants. So if you see that particular one, especially, I have a lot of moths, different moths here, but that particular one I know from experience in Dallas that is absolutely horrible. They lay eggs in an ornamental kale. I have a couple of ornamental kales in the garden, and when those eggs hatch, it took them a night to go over those two kales. And guess what? After they're done with the kales, they wanted to go with the rest of the garden. So this coleus right here is the trooper I was talking about. There's also an ivy in here and a smaller version of this philodendron tree. I put the real name on the screen so you can see it. But this coleus is great. The secret with coleus for them to stay longer and to thrive is if they flower, just pinch them, or if they get too leggy, just pinch them, and they will get thicker. But that one doesn't flower particularly, so I don't know if it's altered genetically or if that type of variety. If the plant flowers and then those flowers become seed pods, then plant will die. That's the reason you want to do that. So this was one of the projects. So that corner was one of the projects, and that's going to be the finished product with the shelf, and that those two pots in the back corner, and the shelf over here to put my propagations. On here, there were the colliers that we just saw, and over here, I did this table because the table that I had I was using the wrong material, so it was bending in the middle, and it could not hold the weight of the plants. If you saw earlier in the video, these leaves were just barely unfurling. These are actually huge taros. This is, I believe, a black magic. If I'm correct, this is a guacamole hosta, and I don't remember the name of this other alocasia. Uh, this is a low rider. When the leaves are new, they come with a lot more variegation in them, and then they harden into a darker green. Here's another example of what I'm talking about: a plant being a trooper and a plant being a wimp or a drama queen. These two came from the same pot. Look at this. This one is growing great and is growing a new leaf, big. This one is all wimpy, and they're planted right next to each other. They have received the same treatment throughout, and but that one is not happy for whatever reason. So now under the table, I'm able to storage, bags of material, and everything was set up the same. Now the other table was this big table. I'm still drying coco coir. If you want to see that, I'm making a whole video about coco coir and the pain that it is. So this is the other table that was also getting a little deformed by the weight. You just probably just saw a little bit of the update. I have a little bit of the update on the repot of that plant. It was over there, and now it's over here. These are the ones that I trim, and look at this. I'm gonna look up the dates of the video, but since I trim it, look how much have this plant have rebloom. Same thing with this petunia. This petunia was almost like down to like no blooms. This one is still there, but they're fine. I have cut all this, and I'm waiting to see what happens with this. The Garcinia is doing just fine in here, and we'll see what happens with that. Like they probably just need a little more time. Also, you can see there the zinnias that I planted in. I cannot see this from here. I still need to make a shot of this from upstairs so you can appreciate it as well. I cleaned this quarter line. I put the name on the screen so you can see which one that is. I'm not sure. Probably it's the kiwi. The other one that I have that is and I've seen these plants around the neighborhood like in full sun, but of course they are planted on the ground. They're not on pots. So this one also needs a little bit of a cleanup, but I wanted to stay there to to get ready in that after I transplant it. I didn't want to move it into the full sun. I wanted to wait it to harden a little bit. This is a new acquisition. This is a Pharaoh mask collocation, and it's stunning. But if you look at this right here, you see this bends? I got this one from Amazon, and they first sent me this, and when they sent me this, you know, it didn't have this. It had this poor little leaf right here, so that one is going back, and they replaced it with that one. But if you pay attention to the bends on the stems, it's because they fold it inside of the box. Instead of putting like a tall box, they use a half of the size, a half of the tall of that plant, and they fold it. Thankfully, the stems did not break, but you can see still I put a lot of extra support, but you can still see the bends in the stems right there. So to finish with this huge project, this is the other table that you saw me making. And here I have the smaller poles and smaller philodendrons pots, and that is the container that was below the other table that we first saw. And now it's here, so I can have also materials in there, and they're easier to access. That concludes the big project. That's what I've been up to. But now that the main part of it, like the construction part, like the cutting the wood and all that is done, I can recover my backyard. I actually have to finish the last wash of the coco coir. If you haven't seen that, take a look, because I'll teach you there how to properly use coco coir. If you buy coco coir from Amazon or from Walmart, like that, it comes in a brick. If you use it right there, if you expand it, I have a video of the expansion of it that is going to be in the shorts, but I have another video just like this one explaining how to not only wash it but buffer the coco coir so it doesn't damage your plants, especially erodes. So take a look at that. I strongly suggest that. So I just have to give that one more rinse and then do the buffering. And besides that, I'm gonna go after this tonight. Tomorrow I get back to my other project, so I'm rambling at this point. But thank you so much for sticking around.